Howdy folks, this is Windy Wanders the City. This is your host Paul today. Today we're on Jackson Street, right near Western, and we're going to walk towards the city. We're going to have the sun in our face the whole time. I haven't been on in a while, and I just want to let you know that I'm still here. Just been very, very busy with the other channel, with my actual work, trying to enjoy time with my family this summer. So we're still out here. We're still doing stuff. So we're on Jackson Street. We are a little bit west of the city, so Western Avenue is about 3 miles out from the city center. And we're going to walk into the city center. We're going to walk into the sun, so you're going to see a bit of a glare. I'll try to project that as much as possible here today. Most of what we're seeing out here is the traditional 3-flat, right, and apartment. You know, they look like row houses, but I'm going to say that I feel like row houses are connected. These are independently built. These would have, some of the oldest ones will have been single families, or single families with a in-law below, or single families with a servant's quarter below. And then as time went on, they were broken up into 3-flats. And by 3-flat, each floor plan is its own apartment or condo. Howdy, Twyla, great to see you. Now we're coming up to Oakley. I will say, as a runner, I love Oakley because Oakley, it shadows Western Avenue. Western Avenue is Chicago's longest contiguous street. Oakley is a street that parallels it, and it's much easier to run against. Here we're coming past Crane High School, and there's going to be a track at the other end of this. Kind of just giving you an appetite? No, that's not right. Just a portrayal into the what some of the neighborhoods of the city are like. Good morning. This street, Jackson, we're on Jackson, right? So Jackson has bike lanes almost all the way into the city. I think that it does have it all the way into the city. As we've mentioned on some of the prior shows, the challenge to bike lanes right now is that Chicago sold a contract to a private firm for parking, and one of the tenets of that parking contract was that they couldn't remove any of the parking. And so in order for us to create parking lanes in some situations, or biking lanes, sorry, in some situations we would have to then eliminate some of the parking. Again, we're at Crane High School, and sometimes in the morning when I have to do a hard workout, this is a nice track. It's very quiet, so I can come here and do my morning workout. Sorry, I've got your eyes in the sun all day. Howdy, Fuzzy. Thanks for coming in. This would have been a tougher neighborhood. By all means, this is a neighborhood that would have had challenges as little as 15 years ago. There were projects out here. We're on the city perimeter, so we're a little bit south of like the United Center and that area, which is where we would have seen the DNC go on. And historically, the United Center has been surrounded by socioeconomically deprived communities. This is also the return route of the Chicago Marathon. So Chicago Marathon, one of the things that I like about the way the Chicago Marathon runs is that it starts in the city center, and then you go very far north up to like Addison Avenue, through Lincoln Park, past the Lincoln Park Zoo. And you kind of do an out and back up there, and then you come back to the city center, and then you do an out and back to the west. And usually you travel west on Adams, which is a block north of us, and you travel back to the city here on Jackson. And what's really cool about that is that this street, if that tree wasn't there, and I think when we get around the corner up here, you'll see, you see the Sears Tower. So when you run back south from the north, you have this concentration of the Sears Tower in front of you all the time. When you run back east from out here, you're going to see that we're running right at the Sears Tower again. When you go south, it's a little bit different because when you go south, we're east. Well, we go south on the west side of the Dan Ryan, and then we come east on the east side of the Dan Ryan, or up Michigan Avenue. Sorry about that glare that's in the upper right-hand corner. This is what, now it's been refurbished, remodeled. This is what a traditional model project housing, so this would have been not high-rise project, but low-rise affordable housing in that time. And it has the courtyard effect very typically. This has been updated, so they have refurbished this area. But it would have been, I don't know if Chicago ever had rent control the same way that we kind of hear about it in New York, but this would have been the low-income housing areas that we would associate with that. Still, at all times, Chicago lives on its alleys, right? So all of the uh, Thank you so much. By the way, that was 20 minutes of awesome commentary that you would have just missed. Thank you, Twyla. So, sorry, when we started this show, we were out at Western Avenue and walking in toward the city. We've been coming through what would have been projects in the old days. Hopefully, you can hear me now. I can see the green lights are moving on the microphone. We are on Jackson Street, headed back into the city center, and you can see the shadow of the Sears Tower ahead of us. The Chicago Marathon was what I was just talking about earlier, which, by the way, when I was muted, none of you could hear me talking about the Chicago Marathon. That the Chicago Marathon starts in the city center, and then it goes up north past Lincoln Park Zoo, and then comes back south. So you can see the Sears Tower as your primary target when you come back south. And then it goes out west on Adams Street, which is 1 block north of us, and it turns around and comes back on Jackson. So again, as you come back into the city, you get to concentrate on the Sears Tower as your goal for that segment of the race. And then it finishes by going south to 35th Street, which is where the Comiskey Park is, or where the White Sox play. Well, the White Sox attend. I'm not sure they play anymore. That was the White Sox are about to head into the worst losing record, or I guess the best losing record in baseball history this season. As we move forward here a little bit, we've got Malcolm X College over here on the left, and this is the city colleges. So there are several city colleges. There's a Daly City College, Malcolm X City College, and these are almost like I'm used to out in the suburbs. We would have called them community college, but your 2-year college to kind of get your basics under your wings. You can get an associate's degree at these places. This one is Malcolm X. Howdy, Cubs. Just to the south of us, sorry, and I haven't been showing you, but is not the Eisenhower Expressway. And what that is that's basically 500 south. And when you actually get into the city, that High School, maybe just before I was muted or just after I came back on, where it's a magnet school and you test into it. So then you and your parents, you're responsible for the transportation to get here. But this is a highly sought after school, and the expectation is that you're getting a better education. I will tell you that every high school in Chicago has a valedictorian. And I'm not telling you that all of the high schools are equal, but I think that learning is as much a student's responsibility as it is a teacher's responsibility. Yes, these schools have advantages, but if the student puts in the work, I think that they can get an education no matter which school they go to. So there's my educational soapbox. Right next to Whitney Young High School is the Chicago Police Department's cadets training area, and we might see them. They'll oftentimes be on a morning run when I come through here at this time of the day. So we might be able to see the Chicago cadets doing their morning exercises. Cubs champ, great to have you in here. I know you from the other channel. Hope things are going well. Know that you've been kind of taking care of life things. Sounds like you're ready to get prepared back to the concentration of the other channel. Great to see you. There is a massive construction project going on here. Well, massive, but a full block long construction project going on behind the fence here. It looks like you can see through there. Not sure what they're building there. We're approaching the medical district as well. So a lot of these buildings might be something to do with either professional office buildings associated, of doctors who are associated with the hospital. It could be part of Malcolm X might be expanding. Not positive on that. Jackson was a bi-directional street. Now it's a one-way street. And in the city of Chicago, just because there's such high traffic density, you will start seeing those one-ways. And since Cubs Champion's here, and Cubs Champion is in Boston right now, even though it's really got kind of a Chicago moniker there. In Chicago, if a street goes one way east, you can feel highly confident that the next street goes one way west. And the same thing if you find a street that's going one way south, you're highly confident that the next street goes one way north. In Boston, they'll have 7 streets in a row that go one way east. I feel like they threw things at a dartboard. If you really look at the history of the Boston streets, especially in the city center, there was the commons in the middle, and you would bring your cattle into town to graze all day long, and then at night they'd go back to the barns, and whatever paths those cows took back to get to those houses, they decided, hey, we should make roads here. So Boston is an incredible architecture. They kept the old Rush Medical Hospital intact, and then they built an extension on top of it, which is 4 lobes. Howdy, Captain. Thanks for coming in. Today we're wandering down Jackson Street towards the city center. We're about to come to Ogden. Ogden was one of the early mayors of Chicago. Ogden happens to be one of the diagonal streets. Ogden is an interesting diagonal street. The that would have been here. That this particular diagonal street, what separates it from the rest of the diagonal streets is if a street starts on the south side of the city, and the median line is Madison Avenue, which is like 2 blocks north, 3 blocks north of me. If the street starts on the south side, it goes south. If the street starts on the north side, it goes north. And all of the diagonal streets go west, because if you went east, you'd end up in a submarine. But this street actually starts on the far south side and comes up here, but it actually hits kind of the middle of the center of the city. But this street bisects this area. It's got the lobal effect, so there's 4 lobes that kind of come off of that center tower in that Rush Hospital, or the Rush Memorial Hospital, those upper. Not going to see it here. Let's see, maybe we'll see it as we get closer too. This pink line is going to go through that building. So this elevated track is going to go through the hospital as it heads south. Or, I'm sorry, we're into the medical district as we head towards the city center. One of the most beautiful streets is in the next block here. I'm pretty sure that that red light up there is Racine, and just we go past Racine, the town, or that neighborhood has the feeling of like a French village, right? Where it's just beautifully tree lined. Now it's not the plain trees of France, but um, headquarters for the Teamsters here in Chicago. Booth, and you screwed in a light bulb, you would get flagged for that. And here we're seeing the signage, right, for the Teamsters City, and then the Park Tavern. And back, we again get the upper levels of Rush Hospital. Uh, it just feels calming when you're in the middle of the marathon. So at this point, see a massive tree over there that seems to have come down. But there are a lot of trees here, and they just give you such awesome shade here on the street. As I mentioned before, we're going to come up. This bridge is the bridge that connects the two campuses of Whitney Young High School. Behind this, uh, um, behind our left is a track and a little park, and it had a lot of hubbub, but it's named after former First Lady Michelle Obama. The claim was that it was going to be a public youth park, but it turns out that Whitney Young doesn't allow non particular track. I will say a lot of people in the city were a little bit deceived by what was going on there. Again, here we're seeing that Whitney Young Magnet High School, where academic excellence is the standard. I don't know if you can see up in there, but right there's little couches on that pedway. So apparently there's, you can take a little pause, sit down, relax, read a book, watch the iPad, doom scroll on your iPhone. Oh, all right, Fuzzy. I'm hand carrying the mic now, so we'll see if that helps at all. Again, we're here at oh wow, 82 degrees at 8:36 in the morning. I don't think that we're getting too much higher. I think that we're only supposed to be up to the mid 80s today. As we cross this next street, we are going to come across that police academy that I spoke about earlier. This again is just green space for the Whitney Young High School. We've talked about this before, right? We've got the divvy bicycles there, and the way that that works is you can pay an a la carte fee. Maybe it's I'm not even sure what the a la carte fee is. I think it might be $10 a day. I don't know if you can get an individual ride, but you can buy an annual pass, and then the annual pass lets you take any of the manual bicycles for free for up to 45 minutes at a time. And they also have electric assisted bikes, and you get an incredibly discounted rate. Like, I think over 30 minutes, it might cost you $2 to use the electrically assisted bike. And those bikes are going up to 20 miles an hour. So if you had to get someplace, it's probably more efficient to use the electric assisted bicycle than it would be to get an Uber or a taxi. And again, this is that police academy. We aren't seeing anybody out here now that I see it's 8:36. So normally when I'm seeing the cadets out here running, I'm in this neighborhood at 6 o'clock in the morning. So yes, Kathy, I'm responsible for dumbing down America. No more reading. Just learn from all these talking heads on the YouTubes. Hopefully, I'm somewhat entertaining and educational. Got some youngins getting ready to head to school. Just don't want to grab them on camera. So, right, we've got, if you look there, I'll read it for you. I don't think you'll see it there, but we're at 1300 West Jackson, and it's the Chicago Police Training and Support Group. And here we've got a squad. Incorrect conclusion that police cars can park anywhere. Now, I will say, in case of emergency, absolutely a police car can park anywhere. But because they want to run in and get something very quickly out of convenience, that is no different than me wanting to park and going to Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee really quickly. I am illegally double parked. They are illegally double parked. And he's actually parked in a fire lane right now. I am not anti-police, but I am anti-overstep your authoritarianism. And if it's no big deal that they park there, why isn't it no big deal that I park there when I go in and grab a coffee? I am the tallest person my height. I will tell you that right now. Some beautiful homes over here. So these are four stories high, um, these units. And then up on top, you might not be able to see it, but at the edge, there's like a pergola, let's see. The little, usually make a little awning up there, but they make barbecue spaces for themselves or party spaces for themselves at the top of these buildings. Folks, I am editing some of the police interactions from this past weekend, and those will go up on When He Watches the Cops. Just to kind of give the experience of how police can sometimes overstep their bounds. Right? We'll see examples of good police activity, and we'll see examples of, let's say, less than exemplar police activity. We saw a little bit of this on the other channel on Sunday night and on Tuesday night, but I will definitely kind of have interviews with Joe Cool and Mexican Longhair, people who have been long police watchers and activists of police overstepping their bounds. And there are, in any community, there are people that are doing it out of passion, care, or concern, and there are people that are there for different reasons. They understand that there is money to be made, and their focus is a little bit more there. Now, is it my desire to make money? Yes. Is that the principal reason I'm out here? No. I just want to recover some of the costs. Right? But that's I don't have any thoughts that I'm going to retire and and become a wealthy YouTuber in this space. But there are people that I think when you watch them, you can tell how impassioned they are by their oversight of the police and helping out people who are being railroaded by the police in real time. It's been a long time since I've been called a young man, but thank you very much, Kathy. Thank you, Fuzzy. And I do love that the way that I've been handling these. This is Mercy Home, which they're going to take in adopted and foster children right, and help them out quite a bit. So they'll take in donations and then house unhoused children as they're trying to move from foster care to adoption. After I had the first channel, I realized that it would be a little bit easier instead of having to set up all this stuff every single time I wanted to do a new channel. That Wendy wanders the city and Wendy watches the cops happens to have the same uh, abbreviations. So, hi, Kathy. Thank you. We're all young at heart, I hope. Here we're walking past a Target, and it's interesting. So, in the city, almost all of these Targets are on the second floor. So, they'll have parking on the lower floors, and then um, they'll you'll take the escalator or elevator up to the shopping area. And now we're going to move into some heavily residential spaces that this would have been still a light manufacturing area back in the day, or office space. Here we're coming past an animal hospital. But as the manufacturing moved out and as the office space was no longer needed as much of these buildings have been turned into residential locations. More often than not, condos. Um, you can see, oh, I don't know how well you can see in the background, but you've got the red building with the white horizontal line across the top. That is absolutely an old manufacturing building, and all of those patios out there are add-ons or after the fact. We're kind of moving from West Town into Greektown. So I can't tell you precisely the boundary of where Greektown starts, but we're definitely going to be there within the next block or so. Here again, right, all of the residences. Now these are newer buildings, but they became newer buildings, or they decided to build the newer buildings once they realized they could get residences to move people to take up residency here this close to the city, right? So from here to Michigan Avenue, I am probably less than a mile. So, you know, if I was somebody who worked in the city and lived out here, it's a rather short and mostly very safe walk to get into the city center. Now, this is an actual rarity because of how close we are to the city center. Uh, there's only one gas station closer to the city center than this. It's actually really hard to get gas in the city. Almost everybody has to leave the city in order to get to gas up their cars. And that, again, it's a reflection of this was a business area. There was no expectation that people would live here when these communities were first built up, over 100 years ago. That'd be. I would hate that job to be a semi driver having to make deliveries in an urban area. These streets are so tight, and the obstacles, the poles, the overhead lights, just, yeah. How many times rookies must, hey boss, sorry, I ran under a bridge, or I banged the truck on the corner. Again, we're seeing, all of the residential buildings over here. We're going to start seeing restaurants and retail down here. Um, we've got, let's say, a daycare, preschool coming up. Good bets ahead of us. We'll see restaurants and bars. They a little bit more prevalent to the north, but they still exist down here. A lot of the ones that we're going to see here on Jackson are walk-in. So, right, a taco, a sandwich, those types of things. Yeah, I mean, Kathy, I'm guessing that you're out in California. That is traditionally about the only. Well, I would imagine New York City itself as well. But the taxes here in the city, and Chicago isn't quite as green as California is. And again, I'm making a hasty generalization, but Californians have long rallied against fossil fuels, and they've always tried to move more quickly or progressively into green energy and green solutions. So there are huge sin taxes on gas there. Uh, Chicago is one of the most highly taxed areas in the United States. I think we're at about 11 and a quarter sales tax here. Illinois itself has a pretty aggressive sales tax in general, or a gasoline tax. Now, if you get outside of Cook County, it becomes rather affordable. It's noticeably cheaper when you're outside of Chicago, and then when you go over to Indiana or up to Wisconsin, it's even better. So, whenever the family and I have to take a trip, it's like, hey, while we're out here, let's fill up the gas tank. And yes, that Fuzzy, you're right on that. Um, the average for Cook County is probably less than this, but that's a unicorn place for a gas station to be, and it's almost got a monopoly in this area, so they are able to again pull in that premium tax and price. It's not quite the free market down here, and it would be very, very hard to get um, city commissioners to allow you to put a gas station in. Gas stations create quite an environmental concern well, everywhere they create an environmental concern. Uh, but you have to dig deep for that, and I just don't see a lot of gas stations ever springing up here in the city. Now again, we're going past the Taco King. Got another little Greek restaurant, Subway, ramen, Mr. Greek gyros or euros. And we're on to Halsted Street. And Halsted Street is kind of the main drag of Greektown. Here we'll start seeing more Greek statuary as we go through here, and the restaurants. Well, you've got the absolute Greek flag over there, Athenian Candle Shop. Melly is here, but that's Nine Muses down there. Athenian Candle being in Greek with the blue and white. You've got Greek Islands, a block and a half, or a half block up here. You've got, again, the Greek Euros. Yeah, it was funny. When Mindy was here, I had told her that, if you go in there, you can go get into this particular restaurant. You can probably go get a juice for like $6 to $8. And she goes, oh, that's nice. You guys get them for half price. Now we're going to really see the wall of buildings in the city center here as we cross the highway. Here we've got the the Greek Olympians on the building there. They are probably going to rename this, but this has been the Jane Byrne Exchange, or many, many years ago, we would call this the Spaghetti Bowl. So this is where three interstates are kind of intersecting, and they had some kindergarten child design how these ramps would all work. And I think the last stop on our tour today is going to be the H Mart here. H Mart is, I'm going to say Korean, but you might say it's more of an Asian market, but it's definitely a Korean market. And if you go in here, you're going to see fresh fish. You're going to see a lot of things that are not traditional here in the Western world. Octopus, squid, all of that. All of the rices, all of the noodles from the Asian cultures. And then in front, there are 3 or 4 little restaurant areas that they've got. You get mochi in there. Just, you can tell you're in an Asian market here. You can get durian in here. By the way, don't ever get durian. Or if you do, don't ever open durian. And now we're on to Desplain Street. So we're about 3 blocks short of the river. I'm going to have to head into one of my clients' offices soon, so I'm going to kind of shut it here to keep myself somewhat anonymous in that regard. Hope everybody had a great day today. Please like, subscribe. I do want to get a little bit more active on this channel. It's just making sure that I can manage this with all the other fun things of life. But thank you all for being here. Again, it's Windy Wanders the City, and we've looked at Jackson Avenue, part of it in silence, from Western Avenue to Des Plaines Avenue. Thank you all. Have a great day. I will see you later.